Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunrise with Sara. I'm your host, Sara, and I'm so happy you're joining me today. This is a podcast about connection, growth, and wholehearted living. And every week we have episodes that are either solo episodes like the one today or interviews / conversations with movers and shakers and self-empowerment and all that jazz. So let's get cooking. If you are new to the show, welcome. I am so happy you're here. Peruse around. We're on episode 10, so, take a peek at some of the old episodes. We're only on episode 10, but take a peek. Let me know what you think. I'm so happy you're here. And for returning listeners, I thank you. We just hit double digits today. And so if you've been here from the beginning, I am so, so grateful. Before we hop into the episode, I always have this caveat that I'm growing too. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a life coach. I'm a friend talking to you about life stuff, and I hope that it's helpful. I reflect a lot in my life, and I'm very, very hopeful that my reflections can be helpful to you. And just know that anything that I talk about on this episode, I've gone through myself / am going through right now. So I am not holier than thou. I'm not trying to be prescriptive by this at all. I'm just sharing what's on my mind. So let's go. As I said, this is episode 10. Woohoo! We are in the double digits, which is super exciting. Also, I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm trying to do the YouTubes this week. I have a camera going right there. I'm pointing at the camera right now. So hopefully this episode will be on YouTube. And if it's not, it's because something went woefully wrong. Either the camera broke or I couldn't figure out the editing or whatever. So maybe it's on YouTube, maybe it's not. And if it's not, we'll try again next week. We'll get there. I'm learning, as I said. So what's cooking? I'm back in Seattle right now. I just spent the past 4 or 5 weeks on the East Coast visiting family for the holidays. And I'm officially back and it just, kind of getting into the swing of things. It was so wonderful to be able to spend so much time with family. And it is, getting back into the grind of life has been very, it's actually been pretty good. I had enough of a time with family that I'm ready for it. Also this weekend was the first weekend back in Seattle and I made a wonderful discovery. This show called Are You the One is on Netflix. And I just want to say I am very particular with my trash TV / TV in general. I don't really watch TV all that much, but sometimes it's so funny how nourishing trash TV can be. I just had a wonderful night on Friday where I cooked myself dinner, hung out while I watched this trash TV. And Ben hopped in too and was oh, I fucking hate this. But then the next day, Saturday, which was last night, he was do you want to watch some more episodes? And I was I told you it's good. So my weekend has been filled with Are You the One? I'm watching season 1. It is so good. Basically, they use all of these tests, the eHarmony tests plus interviews with people's exes, and they put 10 guys and 10 gals in a house, and they all have a perfect match based off of these tests, and it's their job to figure out who it is. And mayhem happens, of course, people get into fights and all that shit, but it's been fucking awesome. So that's my trash TV / weekend self-care, I suppose. I would love to know what yours is. If you want to shoot me a DM on Instagram or something like that, I'd love to know what your show is. I just took a sip of water, and for folks watching, take a look at this mug. It is a Sunrise with Sara mug. Ben's mom, Debbie, shout out to you, Debbie, got me this mug for Christmas, and I'm super pumped about it. So that's going to be my beverage holder from here on out on this show. One announcement before we dive into today's topic is about fucking February. February's coming up. I hate February. It is my arch nemesis. It's the shortest month, So you would think it would be like easy breezy, beautiful cover girl, but it's not. I find that like February is when the winter really just like sets into your bones. Like in November, December / leading up to the holidays, like there's just so much stuff going on. Like for me personally, work is incredibly busy and like the holidays are happening. I was grateful and like lucky enough to be able to travel to see family. So like you don't really like realize what's happening. And then January hits and then you're kind of on the come down from everything. So like all of a sudden you blink and it's the end of January and you're like, holy shit, where did that go? And then you land into February. And February, you're just there with the cold, with the dreary, with the not too much to look forward to because you think March / April is spring, but it's not. Kind of. Or more so, I guess I think of spring as like better than it is instead of like spring's essentially just like winter with like more rain. So the point of this, like, you know, bitching about February is that I'm going to be doing a 28 days of joy throughout February because I find it to be a very hard month to get through and can be, that's when like to me, like seasonal affective disorder kind of sets in. So I'll be doing this on Instagram every day. My challenge to myself and to all of you is to do one thing every day throughout the month of February that makes you fucking happy. You do it just for the sake that it makes you happy. And that could be anywhere from watching an episode of Are You the One and just like having a time, or like going to your favorite coffee shop, getting your favorite coffee, painting your nails, whatever. But like be sure, the challenge is to do something every day that just like is for you and to help the happiness. If you have been listening since the beginning, I touched on this in the Tough Month Action Plan episode. I believe that's episode 3. So if you are looking at February and you're like, holy shit, I need some backup, take a listen to that episode. I have a lot of tricks that I bring out whenever I look at a month and I'm a little bit freaked out by it. I'm also going to be doing some habit tracking, which I took from the Tough Month Action Plan episode. So check that out. And for the 28 Days of Joy Challenge, it's going to be February 1st through 28th. Surprise, surprise. And I would love for you to join me. I would love for you to join me on Instagram, like tag me, like, you know, send it to me, whatever. Like you send me a DM. You don't necessarily have to post if you don't want to. But I'd love to see what you guys are doing. And if you decide, like, you know what, if this sounds good and you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this challenge too. Like, you don't have to do it every day. If you miss a day, like, that's not shame. Like, you know, as I like typically say, like, doing things for self-improvement should be additive and shouldn't ruin your life. So if it's gonna ruin your life, don't stress out too much about it. You have full permission to not be perfect at this. Okay, so let's dive into the topic today of self-love and self-loathing. I thought about this because we are in January, so it's resolution season. Side note, episode 6 talks about like different ways to set up your goals for 2021. And if you're listening to this and you're like, oh shit, I don't have any goals yet, that's okay. There's no deadline. But basically I was just thinking about like the goals that I've been seeing on Instagram and like the typical like losing weight season this thing is. And I just really want to dive into like whether your goals are good or bad for you and kind of like how to determine what kind of mindset you're in. So where we're headed today, we're going to talk about like what is self-loathing, like what does it look like when you're operating out of self-loathing and why it's bad. And also we're going to talk about like what does it look like to operate out of self-love and also how to get there, which is, spoiler alert, kind of a hard process. So I just want to start by saying that like the goal, like we are not focusing on what goals are good or what goals are bad. We're focusing on your relationship with the goals. So like, as I said, no goal is good or bad, but what's your motivation behind it? What's your relationship with it will help determine whether or not it's good for you or bad for you. So let's talk about self-loathing and this, start with the bad news. But basically, like if setting goals out of self-loathing, like the energy and motivation behind your goal is coming from a place of feeling that you are not enough as you are. They're also very outcome based. For example, having a goal of I want to lose 15 pounds versus I want to eat more vegetables. Do you see the difference there? Like losing 15 pounds is an outcome, eating more vegetables is a process / an action. Self-loathing also tends to come from the place of perfectionism, where you're just constantly striving to be better because you don't feel like you're good enough as you are. Perfectionism, I'm going to do a whole episode on this, but like perfectionism is a weird thing in today's world because I always thought that perfectionism was a good thing. And that it was like the thing that you would say in a job interview if someone asked like, what are your weaknesses? And you wanted to like flip it to be like, oh yeah, but my biggest weakness is that like I'm a perfectionist and I'm going to do everything right. And I'm going to work so hard and I won't stop until it's perfect. Like, just flipping it into like another I'm amazing thing. So I didn't really realize till later on in life, like that perfectionism is so shitty and so self-destructive and really feeds into this like operating out of self-loathing thing. Another thing for self-loathing is like your goal is very outcome based, and the outcome is trying to fit a mold that society deems valuable. So that could be, for women, honestly, like losing weight, not having wrinkles, like having to do all of these like exterior aesthetic things could be a thing. But it doesn't necessarily have to be like exterior goals. Like success could be like getting a promotion, could be coming out of a place of self-loathing if you're trying to live up to standards of like achievement. Like perhaps your family is very achievement based and you're like, fuck, unless I get a promotion every year, my parents won't love me. Like that's not good. Like that's not coming out of a place of like loving yourself. That's coming out of a place of I need to do this in order to have more value in this system. And another sign is that your goal / doing your goal, reaching for your goal, like it feels desperate. It feels like if I don't do this, I'm fucked, which that's just not a good place to come from. It can also be like very tight ass, like you're so grippy to the thing. Like if I don't achieve this, like the world will end. And there's also shame. And a lot of anxiety around the question of like, what if I don't achieve this? So if you have a goal right now and like you ask yourself like, what if I don't achieve this? And you're like, I will hate myself. That's a sign that you're operating out of self-loathing. Some examples of this, like that I see a ton. And also I just want to say like, I've operated out of self-loathing a shit ton in my life. Which is why I can speak to this so much. So I'm not trying to be like condemning you for feeling this way, because I have felt this way / continue to feel this way in certain areas of my life. So, and I'm going to get into a personal story in a second, but just in case you're on the defense and you're like, well, fuck you, lady. Why are you like yelling at me? It's like, no, I am you. We're the same. So obviously this might be like self-explanatory, but like, why is self-loathing bad? It's very like self-loathing, coming from a place of self-loathing is really fucking motivating, and you can do a lot with that, but it's never going to feel good. So basically like you can achieve goals through self-loathing, and I certainly have, but it's always been like a veneer of achievement / success, and it has never really felt great in my body. Like I don't feel like wholehearted about it whatsoever. And like there are two things that can happen. Like when you like achieve your goal is like if you're operating out self-loathing and you like cross the finish line, you are either likely create a new goal because you're still operating out of I'm not enough. So you need another goal. So that way, maybe next time you'll be enough, whether you need that next promotion or you need to lose 5 more pounds or you need to like get one more like piece of work done on your face or something. Like it's just like an ever moving carrot. Or you achieve your goal and then you're just like freaking anxious about losing it. Like because you didn't get there from a place of self-confidence and self-security, like you won't have too much confidence in order to maintain it. And there will be like anxiety about falling off the rails. You'll be really grippy to your current state. You're like, okay, I got here. Now I need to hang on for dear life. And catastrophizing any undoing of the work that you've done. So the thesis of this is that like operating out of self-loathing will never lead to true happiness. I'm going to say that again. Operating out of self-loathing will never lead to true happiness. You can achieve things, you can hit your goals, but it will not be fulfilling to you. And I say to you, but I'm also saying to me. This is as much of a message for myself. So my personal story, I have done a shitload of self-loathing operating in my lifetime. One area is in fitness and weight. And I do want to like say, like, if you are like super triggered by stories like this, like I would skip ahead maybe like 3 minutes. I won't spend too much time on it, but like take care of yourself, like skip ahead if you, or even like stop listening if you're like, this is not healthy for me to listen to. But basically, like I have gone through periods of time where I have lost a good chunk of weight. Like me losing weight was not for health reasons. It was for aesthetic reasons. And I didn't realize it at the time, but my motivation behind losing weight was to be more valued. I wanted to be more valued by my peers. I wanted to be more valued by boys, and just like everyday folks. I hang out with a lot of fitness people. So like if you lose weight, like people are like, oh my God, you look awesome. And I wanted that validation. I did not need it, but I wanted it. So I was very externally motivated. I over-exercised. I fucking counted macros, which isn't inherently bad, but I was not eating enough. But I remember when I went into like my macro counting meeting with the woman who helped me out with macro counting, she was like, how much do you want to weigh? Because like that's basically how it works. It's like, how much do you weigh? How much do you want to weigh? And I remember kind of looking to her like, how much should I weigh? And I didn't realize this till I was chatting with one of my friends, Brooke Rosenbauer, who's a fitness professional, amazing. She's going to be on the show. But she pointed out to me, she was like, you were asking for what weight is valuable. And that fucking blew my mind. And I was like, holy shit, I was. Because it's not like I had a real goal in mind. I was just like, what weight can I be where I'll be like valued in this community and valued by my peers, valued by boys. I was just like externally motivated. And I did lose weight. Like, you know, as I said, operating out of self-loathing can certainly get you results. And I over-exercised and under-ate my way to it. But when I hit my goal weight, which was, I'm not even going to say the number because it's not important. But once I hit my goal weight, I was like, okay, I hit it, but I need more. So it was just another couple pounds, another 5 pounds, another whatever. I just like kept moving that carrot, and it was just like, honestly, fucking shitty. And I got a lot of external validation of people like, you look amazing. And I was like, thank you so much. But like in the back of my mind, I was like, I feel like shit. I'm not eating enough. I'm over exercising. I'm really driving myself into the ground. But thank you so much. And also once I got down to the weight that I wanted to be at / at the moment wanted to be at, I was so fucking anxious about falling off the rails. Like if I had like a big meal or something, I was like, oh fuck, now you've done it. Now you're completely gonna outdo or undo everything that you did. And I was anxious to take a rest day from exercising because it was just so much like, what if I don't do this? What if I don't do that? What if I have a cookie? What if like friends would ask me to go out to dinner and I would just like scour the menu ahead of time online, just being like, okay, well, I could do this and that and this and that to kind of like fit my macros or whatever. Like it was not good. It was externally motivating. It was motivated by external factors. It was coming from a place of me feeling like I wasn't enough at the size that I was. And once I achieved my goal, I made new goals and I had a shitload of grippiness to it and a lot of anxiety. So I know that this story is not unique to myself, that a lot of people have it or have gone through this themselves. So that is my self-loathing, operating, goal-setting journey. So let's move into self-love now that we've talked about all of the bad news ever. So self-love is operating from a place of personal growth, nourishment, curiosity, wonder / expansion. It's very much about nourishing yourself, and it should feel nourishing when you're operating out of self-love. You're not beating yourself up. You believe that you are enough as you are, and you are more interested in the process versus the outcome. So as I said, like self-loathing goals tend to be outcome-based versus process-based. So as I said, like I want to weigh X amount versus I want to eat more vegetables. And you have the confidence to know that you're okay and you can live without achieving your goal. If you don't achieve your goal, like what the fuck ever, like it would be cool to achieve it, but you don't need it. So some examples of self-love goals is I want to eat healthy and exercise because I love myself and I want to take care of my body. And you're actually taking care of your body. Another goal is I want to wear sunscreen to protect my skin. Is like a self-nourishing goal. Or I want to take a dance lesson to get out of my comfort zone. I want to get outside more because it feels fucking good. I want to make more friends because I thrive in a supportive environment. Do you notice how those goals are like different? And like the reason why they're different is the because. So it's like I want to eat healthy and work out to take care of my body versus like I want to weigh X amount so I'm more valued in life. It's just such a different mindset. So now we're going to talk about like how to get to self-love. So like I've chatted about what is self-loathing, why it's bad, what self-love kind of looks like, and now how do you friggin' get there? This is this can be a very arduous process. So first thing I would say, like, if you're listening to this and if you're like ready for it, you're like, oh, fuck, I do operate out of self-loathing. Like, that's amazing that you're like open to it. But if you're listening to this and you're getting really defensive and you're like, fuck you, like, why are you talking to me about this? Like, that's okay. Like, I don't think that you should try to force the situation. I think everyone's journey through this is going to look different and it should look different. So I would say take your time and know that everyone's process through this is going to look different. Your timeline's going to be different. The emotions are going to be different. Your motivators are going to be different. So just know that this process is yours and yours alone. However, the only way out is through. I'm going to say that again. The only way out is through. So if you are operating out of self-loathing, you can't ignore it / pretend to like switch your mindset. You really do have to kind of go through the shit of identifying why you're doing these things and working through those issues in order to get to a place of self-love. And I know that is really shitty. And whenever you're ready to like go through it, like that takes a shitload of courage. It takes so much courage to admit where your motivators are, like, and it's really gut wrenching and very emotional. So how to get to self-love is like really like identifying like, oh my God, I'm operating out of self-loathing. And I think these are my motivators. And that kind of gets me to like the next question is like identifying the why. So like, why are you operating out of self-loathing? Why are you beating yourself up? Why do you feel like you're not enough? So you can either ask yourself these questions, but it could be really beneficial to seek therapy and have a therapist kind of walk you through it. As I said, I'm not a therapist, so this is just advice like coming from a friend, and I think a therapist would be much more qualified to help you through this. And then once you've kind of like identified like, holy shit, I'm doing this thing, and like you've identified your why, like take some time to let it heal. Like, as I said, we cannot hurry this process, and this process is yours, and you're not in control of your process. A lot of this is your body healing, and you can't force it. I've tried to force like healing, and it just has to do its own thing. And then once you've healed, like you can probably be in a better position to kind of like parent yourself / coach yourself through life a bit more. So you can like identify like, nope, Sara, that is a self-loathing thought. We don't do that shit anymore. And this is a better thought. Or you can help make a game plan of like how to like handle yourself as you go through the world. And then as you make more goals, like, as I said, focus on nourishment, focus on expanding yourself, focus on things that like feel good to you. And that is it. So some key takeaways today is 1, goals are neither good or bad, but your relationship with those goals is really important. Your motivators behind those goals are very, very important. Operating out of self-loathing will never lead to happiness. It just won't. You can externally achieve things, but you won't feel really good. And it's just kind of a negative spiral. Self-love goals come from a place of confidence and belief that you are enough as is. And they also focus on nourishment, expansion, and bettering yourself, I guess. But like coming from a place of like, from you. Like you decide, I want to better myself for me. And the journey to self-love is yours alone. It's really fucking hard. Perhaps seek support from a therapist and just like know like this is not an easy button situation. And the only way out is through. And that can be really challenging. So seek support from a therapist, from your friends, like if you're thinking about going through the path towards self-love. And that is it, folks. I really hope this is helpful. I hope that it might help you look at your goals a little bit, look at your motivators a little bit. As I said, I've done my fair share of self-loathing, and it's something that I'm continuing to work on in a lot of ways. So I'm right here with you. If this was helpful to you, please let me know. Send me a note on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. You can, if you have my number, shoot me a text. Like, I would love to hear from you guys. And if it was really helpful, I would love if you subscribed, and I would love if you left me a review. It would honestly mean the world to me. And that's like the best way. That's probably the best way for you to tell me that this podcast is helping you. Leave me a review. It takes maybe 5 minutes and it's completely free. So that would mean the world to me. I'm on Instagram at Sunrise with Sara if you want to connect there. And the intro outro music is by Matt McGee. And next week we got another solo episode, so I will see you there. Everyone, have a wonderful day. Talk to you all next week. I love ya. Bye. Mwah.